All right, actually, I just start now to record the conversation. We have 3 ways to participate here in our program. First, of course, is per email, Stefan with F at siestaradio.es. The other thing is you can call the studio on 647-500-500. And last but not least, you can also leave a message on the Facebook site from Siesta Radio. Okay, good morning. So let's start. Mick is here today from the Dream Scene, the magazine, very popular magazine for expats.
Yes, we started this, gosh, how many years ago? 8 years ago. I started off as a 4-pager, now it's 32. It's supported wholly by advertising, which is at a very reasonable rate, I might add.
Yes,
and it's a quite popular monthly magazine. I print about 900 hard copies every month, which go very fast, and then I send out over 100 online, and also there's the archives are held online as well. I'm not sure what the traffic on that is, but maybe we might.
Okay, maybe we'll have a look at the archives. I do not know how many actually really visit that, but I can have a look, of course.
Yeah, sure.
And I think not only in Dream Hills, they also got that. They people reading also in Los Altos area.
Oh yes, Los Altos, Los Balcones. I also have distribution points in Los Montesinos, San Miguel de Salinas, Villa Martin as well.
Yes.
But I'm straining it now because I don't want to do more than 900 issues a month, you know, and honest people want to buy email, which is much easier. But it'll probably stay with that. But yeah, I mean, I'm quite happy with its with its readership. I would estimate it's probably read by about 3,000 people every month, actually. So.
And what I actually like, you really are covering all the topics. You're covering politics. You're covering society, curiosities, and I think it's a really excellent magazine. Every person who maybe didn't read it yet, you should really get a copy of it. It's really good magazine covering different topics.
Thank you for that.
And I think we talked today about elections in Andalusia.
Oh yes, that was quite interesting because we were all waiting for that because the president, I won't say elect, but who was tipped to be the new president of the new regime there, Susana Diaz, she called the local and regional elections early. This would have been to try and mitigate the effect of the new parties like Podemos. And it would seem it was a very good strategy for her, actually, because in the regional elections, the PSOE, the incumbent socialists there, they achieved 47 seats, which was exactly the same as what they achieved in the previous elections. Now, many had predicted or said that they would lose seats and lose quite a few to Podemos, but actually they did very well in maintaining 47 seats. It does not give them an absolute majority, so there'll still be a question of whether they'll be able to govern without support from other parties, and at the moment no support is coming from the other parties. Probably the most surprising thing actually from the elections there was that the PP lost 500,000 votes.
Yes, that is true.
The PP would be the right of centre party, and whereas in the previous elections about 3 years ago, they had I think they secured 1,500,000 votes. This time it was just 1 million votes, which is a hell of a drop. Again, as expected, Podemos, the new left-wing party, they got 15 seats, which is new. I mean, they weren't even presenting at the previous election. And Ciudadanos, which is a new right-of-centre party, they secured 9 seats. The other party who lost quite a few seats and went from 12 to 5 were the far-left party, the Izquierda Unida, the United Left, and it was expected that Podemos would hit them quite hard.
Yeah, the only area actually where the PP won is Almeria. It's interesting too.
Yes,
The only province from Andalusia.
Oh, I see that there.
Where PP1 is Andalusia. There they received 5 seats. But okay, slightly over. The seats actually were the same. PSOE they actually received 5 seats too. But the votes were maybe 10,000 votes difference. So not too many votes. Not too many difference either. No?
Interestingly, Podemos and Ciudadanos, they said that they will not support the existing PSOE in the future voting unless the 2 previous presidents of Andalusia are as sacked, as it were, fired from the party,
because of the area scandal.
This is because they believe, although it hasn't been proven, one must say, is that they have been involved in the hiding of the money in the area scandal in Andalusia, which has run into several millions.
Yes. That's exactly what Ciudadanos Albert Ribera said. So if they are not actually, if they are still their part there, they would never sign an agreement, a pact with the PSOE. Yeah, for me it was also very surprising that Podemos, they had the forecast in the first place 24 seats, and finally they received from 0 to nothing, 15 seats.
That's right,
really quite interesting. So we will see how they will do in the national election in November.
Are they presenting themselves in the municipal elections
in Orihuela?
In Orihuela, for example, and in Torrevieja, maybe, no?
I don't, at the moment it doesn't look like. I mean, there was a project called Queremos Orihuela, which would have been from Podemos, but they wanted to actually collect signatures in the first place, and if they would get 1,500 signatures, then they would go for it. And it looks to me at the moment that they don't get these 1,500 signatures, so they probably won't go. The only thing on who's going is Cambiemos Orihuela, which is actually a joint venture between Los Verdes, the Green Party, Izquierda Unida, and the Unión Trabajadores, or the worker union, worker union association, or worker union. They are going like Cambiemos Orihuela. They will present. But Podemos is not clear at the moment. What is very surprisingly, I don't know if you heard this, Ciudadanos in Torrevieja won't present themselves.
Oh, I didn't hear that, no.
That's actually Betty Grants published this in her Facebook page.
Really, yes.
It's direct link to a Torrevieja newspaper. There were so many problems with Ciudadanos recently in Torrevieja, and they decided they won't present. They won't go for it.
I think a thing with both these new parties, the problem they have is that it is difficult for them to get members which they can trust, and that they can actually, that they can research and investigate for sort of local municipal elections. Because it's because they're sort of on the patch so new, it'll take them quite a while actually to be able to extend their membership down locally.
Interesting is what's interesting about Ciudadanos. There was 1 week ago there was a pact between Unión Pilareña and Ciudadanos in Pilar de Horadada.
Oh yes.
And just yesterday they said they broke up again. They broke up. And then now in Orihuela, yesterday also Lopez Bas, and Bis Modesto Beloso, the councillor for Centro Liberal Renovador, they resigned in the town hall in Orihuela to be official councillors because they were going to Ciudadanos. It was said that Lopez Bas, or Joaquin, Ignacio Lopez Bas, were going to be the number 1 in Ciudadanos.
That's what I thought, actually.
And just today appeared in La Verdad that party members of Ciudadanos, they do not want Lopez Bas like candidates. So also there it's not very unclear. I mean, at the moment we are in very chaos, exactly, because on Monday they have to present the list, like you know.
Yes, because of course the municipal and regional elections are coming up on May the 24th.
Exactly.
So it's not much time. And obviously expats who have the vote, and the expats, if they have registered, they can vote in the municipal elections, and I do hope they all do.
Yes.
There's a big danger of being ignored as expats over here, as I said before.
I don't know if you saw that. If you go on the website, orihuela.es, this is the website from the town hall, you have here on the first page, Exposición al Público Censo Electoral.
Yes.
You click on there.
Yes.
I mean, this is maybe very good also. This will be online until the 24th of May, by the way. This will be online the whole time. It's opening another page, and then you can click on this link here, Consulta Personalizada Censo Electoral, and then you actually have a direct link to the voting administration.
List. Oh, yeah, so the voting list.
Voting thing from Alicante, because it's organized from Alicante, from the National Statistic Institute.
Yes.
And there you can actually put here your NIE number.
Yes.
And your date of birth, day, month, year.
Yeah.
And then you can actually search your name, and then you can see exactly where you vote.
Oh, that's quite, yes.
And on which table.
And if you can vote.
And if you can vote, exactly.
Yes.
That everything was...
I might stick that in the next dream scene, actually, as a link. I think it'd be very helpful to some people.
For example, we from the Lago Sol area, we vote this time in Playa Flamenca.
Yes.
Not in Centro Civico.
Ah, I see.
They changed this. They changed this. So if you have, for example, if you now play a little music, we search if you have your NIE number, and then if you know your NIE number,
I do. Yes.
Then we can, if you want, you do it now. You do it now if you want. We do it now.
Yeah, I won't give out my NIE number over there.
That's true. We do this. We do
we
this.
do it during the next bit of music. Shall I introduce it?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, this is a song called "Burning." Oh yes. The last time I had a selection of music, and everybody said to me afterwards, "Well, we know you, and we could pick all the music you picked." You know. Yes. So this month I'm trying to be. What will I say? I'm trying to. I don't want anybody to anticipate what I'm going to put. So I've put in some quite unusual music, which I do like.
Yes.
But I'll try and not be pre-guessed, as it were. First one is a song called "Burning Bridges." It's by the Mike Curb congregation. Mm-hmm. Anybody who's seen the movie Kelly's Heroes would have heard this. Yeah.
Very good movie.
It was the music to the end of the film, actually. It's called the Mike Curb congregation. It is not a religious congregation, but a musical one. Mike Curb was a Republican politician in California. But he was quite unusual for a Republican politician. He worked with Harvey Milk in a campaign, actually, to help gay rights and the like, which is quite unusual for a Republican politician in the States. Mm-hmm. But he was well respected by the gays there. The congregation features 14 singers, and I quite like their stuff. Okay,
here we go. Burning Bridges, Mike Curb congregation.
Yeah.
And we are back here on Siesta Radio 91.6, and we just put your NIE number and your birthday. We won't tell your birthday either. Into this website, and indeed it's working. The only thing what I made wrong was I really have to place. These I don't know how you call this.
Well, it's a stroke. We call it
stroke. I forgot to place the stroke in the first place. You need to put the
stroke October or say 18th to 10th or whatever.
You need to put the stroke, otherwise you won't find it. And indeed, you find then you're voting in District 5, Section 4, Table A.
That's pretty good, actually. Very efficient.
That's good, huh?
Stefan, can you call out the link again to the people on the radio, so they'll know themselves to have a give it a go.
It is the www.orihuela.es, and there you can find it on the first page. It is the official website from the town hall Orihuela.
Consulta del Censo
Electoral. I suppose that the other town halls are doing the same services. So I suppose that if you go on Torrevieja website, I suppose that they have the same link. On the other hand, if you actually look for INE Alicante, they probably actually also you could find probably the municipalities on the website of the National Statistic Department in Alicante, probably also direct. But this is easier than you don't have to search the website. It's a direct link. Yes. You can then can search then where you can vote, if you can vote, and where you can vote.
Yes.
So it will be very interesting. What do you reckon? 24th of May, how it will go?
I think there'll be a plethora of parties with seats there. You know, and I can't see any party having the majority.
Yes.
I do hope, as I hope as well with Torrevieja, that there will be plenty of expats sprinkled throughout the parties there.
Yes.
Otherwise, I think it is an insult to the large proportion of the population that the expats hold over here, and also their contribution to the economy and to the charities and everything. You know,
it's true.
I think all too often the expats have been ignored by the Spanish, and they say, "Oh, we like your money and all that, but you know, we don't want you as part of the decision-making process."
Which is a shame.
It's wrong.
It is completely wrong.
It is pure it's discrimination.
We will see what the time will tell. I mean, only party who actually published their list at the moment in Auriola is PSOE.
Yes.
And they do not have any
expats on it.
No expats on it at all.
Yeah, well.
We will see. I mean,
that tells you a lot.
It's true, yeah. We will see, I mean, the promise from Pepe Cisca, the president from the province of Alicante.
Oh, for the PP, yeah.
He said that he will place Favanas, but we will see if he is really holding his word or not. Yeah. Soon we will know.
We will know, certainly.
Okay.
Very pertinent.
We go further?
Yes, there's... I thought I might just say a little bit about the worst companies in Spain in 2014.
Yes.
These were as voted through FACUA, which is the FACUA, which is a Spanish Consumers Association. I mean, probably one of the main ones. Interesting, one of the worst, though the worst company award for 2014 went to an American pharmaceutical company called Gilead, Gilead. This company brought out a new brand of medicine to treat hepatitis C, which is a problem in Spain. Anyway, they obtained together with Bankia 54.9% of the vote. The company which produces this new medicine actually forces the patients to pay a very exorbitant price. There was a lot in the Spanish press because the Spanish health system wouldn't finance this, and if you had it, you would have to buy it yourself. But I think
expensive.
But they have now weakened a bit. But of course, it's very selective as to who it is given to, and apparently there are 30,000 patients awaiting urgent treatment in Spain for hepatitis C. I know there are different types of hepatitis C. I saw a statistic here, which I can't believe because it does seem to be excessive, and it came from one of the Spanish newspapers saying that every day in Spain 12 people die from hepatitis C. That seems very high.
Every day, one person?
Every day. No, 12 people
12
every day.
person.
Yeah, which seems very, very high to me. I have a feeling that that's a misprint, you know. Anyway, they came out as sort of the worst company. Tied with them was Bankia. And of course, Bankia is well known. I mean, even at the moment, it's well known because...
Rodrigo
Gatto. An ex-head of Bankia, Rodrigo Gatto, Rodrigo Ratto, his house was raided there, and his offices, in fact. And this guy was a former head of the IMF, by the way.
Yes.
And they raided his offices in his house yesterday, something to do with allegations of money laundering and what have you. But I mean... Bankia is rarely out of the news. One of the interesting things that they had there actually was where they gave out credit cards to a lot of their so-called consultants, directors, you know, and these people were encouraged to use these credit cards to spend on anything actually, from meals to holidays and things like that, and it never formed part of their wages. It wasn't reported to the inland or to the Spanish inland revenue.
How do you call these credit cards? How in
we call them. What you would call them probably
bank cards, or how you?
They're credit cards. There would have been issued by the bank themselves.
But how you when this came in the news? How did you call these credit cards? Because here in Spain they called it the black cards. They used them in black cards too. Or
I suppose in England they just call it fraudulent cards.
Fraudulent cards,
maybe. I mean, I suppose the cards themselves were not fraudulent. The fact that they weren't reporting what they'd spent was. And I think there was something like 84 people had these cards, and it looks like around 84 people abused these cards as well.
Yeah, certain people actually paid immediately back when it came out.
They did, yes. Well,
they immediately paid back
to avoid a police investigation, which they may still be subject to. But I mean, there were stories there. I mean, there was one chap, a socialist guy, and he took out 400,000 euros
from the card.
From the card over a period of 3 years. and he took it all out in cash. You know, now he and the rest of them have got to face the music, and of course the former chairman Ratto, he's being held somewhat responsible for this as well, but this is only a number of charges he's facing at the moment. You know.
Do you know that Ratto was vice president during the time of Aznar?
Oh yes,
you know that.
Oh, no, I didn't know that actually.
He was vice president during the time when Aznar was president from Spain. This is also some time ago now. No? This is at least 12 years ago.
Yes.
No? 12 years ago,
yes,
I think.
Yeah.
Because 8 years was Zapatero president. No? He was before Zapatero.
Oh, but Zapatero, yes, yeah. Aznar was before.
Yeah, it was over 12 years. Over 12 years. And, at that time. Rodrigo Ratto, we talk about him later on.
Yes,
we
sure.
talk about him, but he was during that time vice president from Spain.
Yes,
I know this because actually they put it very, very big on the news yesterday in the Spanish news. Vice president, ex-vice president, and then the people, of course, they think ex-vice president, and they think it's actually from last period.
Yes,
but no, it's a long time ago.
A previous,
it's nothing to do with the government at all. You know,
Yes,
it's a long time ago that he's out.
Yeah.
So the second place is Bankia.
Yeah.
What a surprise.
Sorry?
What a surprise.
What a surprise, yes. I mean, they are actually a symbol of the crisis, you know, and they are continuing with their evictions, and they're applying unfair commissions, fees, and, you know, to the base lending rates of their customers as well.
Yeah.
I mean, these guys deserve everything they get. I mean, they're absolutely awful. And still continue, you know.
Yes. Yeah, in Spain they call it tarjetas o vacas.
Yeah.
And certain people translate it like the black cards.
Yeah, black cards, yes.
But actually, I would actually say the no appearing cards. I would actually translate it like the cards which are not appearing. But whatever, doesn't matter.
I had a statistic there, which of course, as usual, I've lost. With regard to how much. Oh, here we are. There are 83 executive and board members. They racked up 15.5 million in expenses. 15.5 million euros in expenses. Mm-hmm. That included travel, gourmet restaurants, jewellery, cash, which was never declared.
Yes.
So 15.5 million. Incredible.
I mean, some people made the statement that this was the normal way to get an adding, like an incentive.
Extra wages, or
extra wages.
Unofficial extra wages. But even if it was unofficial extra wages, that's fair enough, but they never declared it.
Yes.
And so all that money. So there was 15.5 million for only 83. And they never declared it.
Not right, no?
No, well, they're being hauled over the coals now, which is good.
Not right.
Oh, the other thing which I was going to just say briefly was the worst company practices was also voted on in the Facua vote. Mm-hmm. The worst company practices in Spain. And the worst company practices were chosen by voters were the fraudulent commercial practices of large electricity companies.
Oh, interesting.
And they got 38.5% of the consumer votes against them as being the worst company practice. And we have seen this actually in our area, you know, in Dream Hills, where sales reps go to private houses and they use illegal practices to make users switch companies. And it always causes a rise in the user's bill. This is done by using tricks or by directly forging contracts, you know. So when these people come to your door, keep an eye on your previous bill, because the question is, can they be trusted? The voting for other, or should I say, the other nominees for worst company practices.
There's an interesting article in Dream Scene.
That's right, I did that.
I read this somewhere, I was just looking for it, but the very interesting, in the Dream Scene is an excellent article, more detailed, what Mick just said.
Electricery.
How you call it?
Electricery.
This I cannot pronounce. I'm sorry. I won't repeat. But I read this article and I found it very, very interesting because they're faking statistics and they're faking. Yes. They actually calculated the different amounts and then finally it looks like that you actually earn money or that you save money, but actually you're not. So
fake discounts.
Fake discounts.
Yes,
fake discounts. Yeah, this is a really interesting article. It's in the Dream Scene. I'm sorry.
That's okay. Yeah, and actually, that's the last bit. The banks also, in terms of the worst company practices, they come in for hiding as well because of the commission fees which they charge on third-party transfers. And the phone companies, which actually are mentioned every year, and also the unofficial transfer of personal data from public to private hospitals. So, you know, there's plenty candidates out there.
Yes.
Okay.
We do a little bit of music.
Bit of music, yes. This is most people have heard this before. It's called Peter Gunn. It's instrumental, written by Henry Mancini, and it was the theme tune to a US detective TV series. But Henry Mancini, who composed and arranged it, he won 4 Academy Awards for his music, a Golden Globe, and also less than 20 Grammys. In 1995, he was awarded a posthumous Grammy Lifetime Achievement Award. His talent and his range and his music and his successes are tremendous. I was fortunate to see him actually conduct live in London at the Barbican several years ago, and he sort of conducted a concert of movie music, as it were, everything from Star Wars and things like that. It was really good. But I'm not sure what the orchestra was at the time. I think it was either the London Symphony or the Royal Philharmonic, one or the other. Anyway, it was at the Barbican Centre, and it was superb. A cracking evening. Marvellous music. Marvellous talent. Unfortunately, he's passed away. And this is Peter Gunn.
Okay. And we are back with Mick from the Dream Scene, and just fitting in Siesta Energy.
Well, that's pretty good, actually. Siesta Energy advertising the Dream Scene. I'm very grateful for that. Thank you very much, Siesta Energy. I hope you get lots of custom out of it.
You are welcome. You know actually how this is working with Siesta Energy? How do they do this? Do you know how
no,
they
do
do
it? I'm sure you'll explain.
The energy market, I don't know if people know, the market is open now. The monopoly actually fall.
It's finished, yeah.
It's finished. You can compare this actually the same what happened in Germany or in Spain with the telephone lines.
Yes.
First there was a monopoly from Telefonica.
Yes.
Telecom was actually in Germany, and probably in the UK was Telecom too, I suppose. I don't know.
Well, in the UK it'd be British Telecom.
British Telecom, exactly. And
but now you have lots more.
The monopoly is actually fallen, and then afterwards everyone was actually offering phone lines. So
yes.
Telecommunication, and the same is happening with the energy market. The energy market is open. Iberdrola still has to fulfill the lines of the cable work and everything, because they actually placed it like a a state company. They placed it in the first place, these cables and the lines, but they have to give the lines. They have to open the lines for all the other energy provider. And this is the first thing. And then the next thing is that in Spain, the energy, and one thing is that the energy, the other thing is the power, which is actually coming out of the plugs. And the energy gets calculated now daily by demand, like in the stock exchange. Yeah. You can buy energy more or less expensive. What does that mean? A provider for energy, or who's afterwards is now converting into power and to electricity, yes. He can actually buy the energy from the cheapest provider.
Yes.
And then, of course, there are certain companies who actually give this advantage to the customers.
Yes.
Others, they just keep the fixed rates, how it was, and they just charge always the same. But there are providers who, not only Siesta Energy, there are other providers too, who actually buy the energy quite cheap. They convert it then into electricity, and then they sell the advantage to the clients. That's why you can save money with Siesta Energy. That's it.
Very good.
Okay, the Spaniards pay more tax. It is interesting.
Yes, this is it. I mean, they have found out actually by having a look at the stats for last year that Spanish people paid more tax in 2014 than they did in the previous 2 decades. Than any year in the previous 2 decades. So really,
how is that?
In 20 years. Well, no, it is quite interesting, because there's a lower number of people at work in Spain than in those previous years.
All right.
As well, but they are paying more taxes. What they're saying really is it has been the combination of successive tax rises in recent years.
But it's only about the raise, or it's also because there are more people who are paying tax?
No, there are less people paying tax.
Less paying,
yes, tax now. But of course they are paying the income tax rates have been increased twice. Once under the PSOE, under the socialist government of Zapatero, and then afterwards, when the PP got in this ruling party, they criticised the socialists for increasing taxes, and then did that themselves as well again. And they raised the income tax and the VAT, of course, as well. I mean, now it's up at,
yes,
what is it, 23% in some cases, or is it 21?
This I do not know.
I mean, there are 3 million fewer people in work at the moment compared to 2007. That's quite a lot.
Yes.
And of course, but so that indicates quite clearly that the tax take is much higher. That people are paying more tax. Now, with the election coming up, I'm sure there'll be some, I'm talking about the general election here, there'll be some effort towards maybe reducing that. The PP have already given some sort of concessions, but I don't think they've been very big. You know, I mean, the VAT is now, or the IVA as it's called here, is raised to up to practically maximum levels now. But that was a result actually that last year taxpayers in Spain paid more last year than they did in the 2 previous decades.
That's interesting.
That then yearly in 2 previous decades, you know. So
okay, but Spain is also growing.
Yes, of course, yeah. Well, I mean,
it's growing
of course,
now.
yeah, and of course, part of the reason for this as well is the recovery.
Yes.
You know, which of course one shouldn't be waving any flags about too much because it's still very unsteady.
Yes, of course.
And I think there's a lot to do here in Spain to make it more competitive.
Of course, it's good. The only thing what they cut, if you're a company, you have to also have this retention. This retention that was 21%, and they lowered it this year to 19%. So this was okay, slight.
Yes.
It's a very slight.
I think there are fundamental things which need to be changed actually in the whole Spanish tax system. I mean, it is anything but so simple. Like, remember in the UK, you could always go out and get a booklet somewhere, or a book, in fact, which would explain to you the tax system and, you know, how it works. Over here, that would be impossible to find because it should be easy to do, you know, and it should be something which should be easily produced, actually. But I think there are so many changes here and there and everywhere that it would soon be out of date. It is complicated over here.
Of course, okay, the new government will do it, and whoever that will be.
Yes.
And now at the moment, I think they won't do anything until November, until the new government is taking over.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
The real thing is, even though we hope that we're coming out of recession, but of course we are out of recession, but of course the unemployment figures are still horrendous, you know what I mean? There hasn't been any significant change to those, minor change, maybe 1 percentage point, but that's not near enough. That's not near enough.
Look, the unemployment rate in Andalusia.
Whoever gets into power next November is going to have a hell of a job.
That's true.
Right. Some more music?
Yes, we do some more music, yes.
Okay, and still trying to be unpredictable in the choices. The next 2 tracks actually are what you could call African music. One is by Johnny Clegg and Savuka. It's called The Scatterlings of Africa. Johnny Clegg is a British-born musician. He's also an anthropologist, and he's lived in South Africa for a large proportion of his life, for most of his life. He's known there as the White Zulu, the Zulu Blanc, he's known as. He was very active in supporting the breakdown of apartheid and things like that, actually. And he's a very important figure in South African popular music, but his songs are usually a mix of Zulu and English lyrics, as well as African and European music styles. So it's Johnny Clegg and Savuka with Scatterlings of Africa.
Okay. And we are back on Siesta Radio. By the way, you always can participate here direct, actively, if you call 647-500-500, or you just leave a message on the Facebook side of Siesta Radio. And Do you wanted to say something about this?
Yes, yeah. This is the second African bit of music. This is called Burundi Black. It's actually a recording of drummings and chantings by 25 members of the Ngoma people in Burundi. The actual drum track then was taken afterwards, and it was adapted by some French and some English musicians, where they added piano to it and various other instruments, and it became a quite popular dance track in clubs and things in the 80s. But I prefer the original. I think the original is pure, and I think it's an incredible piece of music, and bearing in mind that all it is drums.
Mm-hmm. Okay. This is a strange music. This is a strange music, I have to say.
I hope not predictable.
That was definitely not predictable. Who had actually believed that this kind of music would come now? But it sounds good, actually. This sounds.
I first heard it years ago. Well, it would be in the 80s, actually. You know.
Yes.
I obtained a copy of it then. And,
that's good. That's good.
But
it was not predictable. That's for sure. The people probably thought, "What is this for music? What Mick is playing today?"
It's my choice. There we go.
Okay, we go on.
Yeah, the next thing I was going to mention was the failed electric car project in the Basque country. Mm-hmm. I got this info actually from the English version of El País, or El País, should I say. And the public prosecutors are having a look at a previous project in the Basque area, firm called Hirico, which was to produce an electric car. And they were to show, they were to bring 20 prototypes of this car to a launch outside the European Commission in Brussels in 2012. Mm-hmm. But actually all they managed to get was one car, and even the one car which they brought with them, they had the engineers outside the Commission with electric hairdryers trying to dry out the electrics in the car as the car wouldn't work. Apparently the electrics got damp and they did it. And they had to dry it so that actually the car would move. Mm. But really, so far they've spent 17 million euros on the project for this car. And of the 20 prototypes which were promised, just one car actually was completed. Mm. You know. The prosecutors say that the businessmen, who all have links to the Basque Nationalist Party, PNV, set up various front companies so that all the profits would revert to the accused, i.e. this is the businessmen. Mm. If the project was a success, they got the profits. But if it failed, the Spanish and the Basque regional governments would not recover the investment. Happens all too often, actually, over here. Mm. But anyway, the prosecutors at the moment have found out that there are many irregularities have occurred. Like they had subcontractors with no employed, and they purchased a prototype. The company as well purchased a prototype of. They purchased a prototype racing car that had nothing to do with them, to the project. Mm. And the location of the company's headquarters as well, it wasn't a building owned by one of the promoters, mm-hmm. You know, so it was a closed shop thing. The rent as well was apparently well above market price. The company themselves are saying, well, it's the recession and things like that, and they're blaming that for the failure. But there's no doubt about it that some people, I have no doubt, what it is alleged that a number of people were made rich out of a project which failed. Former employees of the company, who were afraid to give their names, said that the project was based on an unworkable premise anyway from the start. Mm. And the production estimates were wildly unreliable and unrealistic. They said it's poor planning. In fact, the workers went even further and said the bosses had no idea how to run a company. Mm. And many of the staff also remain unpaid. So there you go, 17 mil, and they had one prototype. That was it. But linked to that, actually, there's a commission at the moment. The Basque Parliament themselves have set up a commission to investigate this particular case as well, because they found that public money was mismanaged again by a small group of people. It reads the same conclusion actually that there was another project in the Basque area where 50 million euros was spent to build a racing car and a Formula One team called Epsilon. Which again, these people who were connected with Heroku were involved with as well, the people who were connected with the original electric car shambles. And there now may be further charges of misappropriation of public money. So one project, what as I say, 17 mil was poured down the drain, and now it seems that there was another 50 mil as well. And it is alleged that the same people, or many of the same people actually, were involved, and this is up in the Basque area.
Basqueland.
Yes, so actually a mess.
País Vasco.
Yes, País Vasco, yes.
No, I have their story. I don't know if you heard this actually. That's interesting. Podemos, they had a committee meeting of the party lately, and when they came out and did a press conference, and of course first goal, the first objective, they said, would be to get Partido Popular out of government.
Yes.
That's the first objective they have. But then the funny thing is, what I found very interesting, they said in the case that Navarra, this is the next to Basqueland, to País Vasco, and the Basques, if they would like to do a referendum to join, to get together, they would agree to it and would actually join these two comunidades, or these two states.
Yes.
You call it states? I don't know if you call it
states. Well, regions, you could call it states or regions. I mean, they are. It could be argued that they are states, or they like to think themselves as states. Anyway.
Yeah, they are regions, and they would like to join. They would say yes, they can do it. Interesting.
Yes.
I found this very interesting.
Well, yeah, but what you mentioned actually, that it ties into another thing I was going to talk about very briefly, was that the independence surge which was experienced in Catalonia is already weakening now. They're saying it's weakening, and for the first time since June 2011, the Catalan regional government's own opinion survey this February indicated the majority of Catalans saying no to independence, which was 48% against 44% who say yes. But there's a lot of people like Arthur Mas and these people, and they're tying their future success to this independence thing, and it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen.
But Arthur Mas is not stopping. He's not.
Oh, he's not. No.
Pushing it.
Yeah, but he has lots of disagreements anyway now as well at the moment with the other pro-independence group, and he's fighting for his survival now. And of course, they look on Podemos as a Trojan horse up there. You know what I mean? And which. They are not talking about independence for Catalonia, but all one can say is actually the independence thing is weakening there. But that lasts another though. I mean, they'll have local elections in May, so it'll be interesting to see what will happen there then. Although their regional election is not due, I think, until next November, is it? Or September, I think they're going to have it.
Yes.
And many feel that actually it was a strategic mistake to delay the regional election until later this year, because it'll give the new parties more time to campaign and to gain new members and stuff like that. So
that's why Susanne Diaz maybe did it earlier.
Yes. Exactly. That's why she did it. So. Really, Mas could have shot himself in the foot over this, so I wait and see. I think we will certainly see some changes up there as well, as we will see in the rest of the country in the general election.
I'm very curious on the 24th what will happen next month.
Oh, yes.
Municipal elections.
Municipal elections. I think was one big thing change everywhere.
Yes. Okay, do we do music?
No. Next, actually, it's not so much music, it's a comedy sketch.
Oh,
Bob Newhart, who's a gifted American comic. I mean, he's a guy who can make people laugh, and he doesn't have to swear or anything. You know what I mean? And he's had marvelous TV programs. One called Newhart, and which was he won 3 Grammys in 1 year alone in 1961. So you know he's loved in the States, and I think he's loved abroad as well. I can remember hearing some of his stuff when I was a teenager, and even have heard it since then. He's Bob Newhart is world famous, and I hope you enjoy this. I think it's very fun. Well,
this is very good.
I enjoyed it. Bob Newhart is marvelous.
Even I have a little bit problems to understand the
thing at the end was where the tarpaulin went off and it sunk. Actually, it sunk a fishing boat.
I get you.
So it wasn't a toy. It wasn't a toy after
all.
It wasn't
a toy after all.
No.
Yeah. I understand. Yeah. Now I understand. Okay, let's go to the next point.
Well, we talked about Ratto already, didn't we? Rodrigo Ratto, largely.
Yes, we talked about him. I actually looked it up in Wikipedia, what he actually did all. If you want, I read it for our listeners.
Yes, do, certainly.
Rodrigo de Ratto y Figueredo was born 18th of March 1949, is a Spanish political figure who served in the government of Spain as Minister of the Economy from 1996 to 2004. This is the first what he did. A member of the Conservative People's Party, PP, he also was first Deputy Prime Minister from 2003 to 2004. Subsequently, he was Managing Director of the International Monetary Fund, that's actually mentioned too, no?
Yes, yeah.
IMF, from 2004 to 2007. Rothe was appointed to become the Managing Director of the IMF on 4 May 2004 and took up his duty on 7 June 2004. He left his post as IMF on the 31st October 2007 following the World Bank EMF annual meetings. He was president of Bankia between 3 December...
There's that name again.
3 December 2010 and 7 May 2012 until its bankruptcy. And then, this was there very quickly. On 16 April, this was yesterday, they already added this on Wikipedia, interesting. Ratto was arrested for alleged fraud, concealment of assets and money laundering.
Interesting, yeah.
Interesting that they immediately put this on the web.
On Wikipedia, it's pretty good actually. I like Wikipedia. Interesting point, this is the second head of the IMF in recent years who's got into trouble. Can you remember the previous head of the IMF, whose name escapes me at the moment? Maybe somebody may.
Yes, the French guy.
Yes, yeah, and it was alleged that he was, pardon the expression, touching up the cleaning staff in his hotel in New York, and there was a court case, and I don't know what happened at the end, I think. But then that prompted other cases as well of people who felt that they were harassed by him, and now you've got Ratto then, who was the subsequent head or the previous head of the IMF, you know. So
Dominique Strauss-Kahn.
Strauss-Kahn, that was it. Yes, well done, Strauss-Kahn.
This is internet. This is internet. Dominique Strauss-Kahn.
Strauss-Kahn, yes.
What happened with this guy actually?
I have a feeling the case in the States fell apart. I mean, I don't know. Maybe somebody was paying off. Maybe it was not. I don't know.
Yes.
But there were other cases then came out of a woodwork, you know, as it were, and there were a number of other women who said, which happened on this occasion, they had said that they were also harassed. Now, the current head of the IMF is Christine Lagarde, and she's flawless. I think obviously they're very careful when they picked her. They got somebody with a good pedigree there, but it just goes to show these sort of people though who can get into these jobs. You know, I mean, it's now. When Ratto was at Bankia, I mean, he was hopeless in terms of direction and control and what have you. You know, the bank still went bust.
And he had, by the way, this is funny, he had really an excellent reputation before yesterday.
Oh, well, almost. When there was a tax amnesty about 2 years ago.
Yes, before that.
You're right, before that was right, correct. But then, surprisingly, there was a tax... or a type of tax amnesty given here in Spain about a year or 2 years ago.
Yes.
And he put forward a lot of his assets for that. Some felt that he did not actually come clean about the whole story there. You know, sorry, it is alleged that he may not have, but certainly the police have got, or these people who are investigating these things now, thing. There is more there than meets the eye, you know. But I mean, you have that, and now, of course, you get the Pujols as well in Catalonia who are being investigated as well. You know, and these are people who built up billions, possibly.
Yeah.
You know, it's incredible. It's frightening what may be involved.
What is interesting is that shortly before the election, things like this is happening.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, I mean,
well,
this is I don't know if this is a coincidence.
Yeah.
Probably it is a coincidence, yeah. But
Yes,
it is always shortly before an election that a scandal comes out.
Yes,
yeah.
yes.
And now, okay, in this case, the PP is involved.
Yes.
And because Rodrigo Rato was a PP member.
Yeah, that's right. Yes.
So, but it's shortly before the election.
Yes. Well, I don't think they're closing ranks around him at the moment. You know, as it were, trying to protect him. I think he's in his own at the moment, and that's that. You know. But I'm sure all these guys have got good lawyers.
Yes.
We know how long they can delay things in the Spanish courts and what have you. You know.
Okay, they want to change it. No? They want to change it exactly.
Oh, make it quick. Yes.
They want to actually dismiss a new law that they have to done in 6 months' time.
6 months' time, and even in more complicated cases, the most they'll allow is 18 months.
Yes.
And even the judges, you know, who were obviously going to protect what they have at the moment. But the problem is the investigative stages of cases have lasted far too long in Spain. In some cases, almost 10 years. You know, it's terrible.
I remember here in Brugal, in our area, the cases, how long this is already going on. This is also outrageous. And maybe even there are certain politicians who maybe were alleged accused.
Yeah,
maybe they are not guilty. You know.
Yes, that's true. Yes. That's true. It's the same with Ratto here. You know, I mean, okay. I don't think he'd find it hard to escape the charge of incompetence, but as to whether he's a crook, that's another story, right? And that is unproven, right?
They told me I should laugh on the radio.
Okay.
Yeah, but that's true. You're right.
Yeah.
Okay, we do
a bit more music.
Yes,
a bit more music. I thought, as I'm Irish, and I thought I might just give air to a traditional piece of Irish music. It's called. It's by a crowd called the Chieftains. It's by a group called the Chieftains. And it's called Sullivan's March. Now, this isn't like the Dubliners type of folk songs or whatever, things like that. This is a traditional Irish band, and they mainly do or play instrumentals, largely with an instrument called the Uilleann pipes. They're like bagpipes, but not as noisy or not as ugly. I mean, it was the Irish actually who invented the bagpipes, and then they gave it to the Scottish, who haven't seen the joke yet, really, you know. Anyway, this is traditional Irish music. And Chieftains won 6 Grammys in the States during their career, so they are well known internationally, and lots of people, lots of celebs, various singers and so have often done duets with the Chieftains, in fact. And O'Sullivan's March.
You definitely changed the style of music.
Yes, no rock this week.
This is really a completely different than the last week, the last month.
Yes.
Last month,
yes.
Last month. So this is a completely. No one can complain now that it was too heavy today.
They were saying I was too predictable.
Yes, this is definitely. This was definitely not predictable today for me. Even I preferred, I have to say, the music from last month. This I have to say.
Well, your wife said last month that my choice is rubbish, so...
Yes, but okay, I mean... Anyway, I preferred, and I think also the most listeners preferred the other style.
Okay.
The other style, Mick.
Let there be rock, eh?
Let there be rock, exactly. Let there be rock. All right. Next.
Well, the last thing I wanted to say, well, it was not really a Spanish story, it's really a German story, actually. There's a 65-year-old Berlin woman. This woman has already got 13 children.
Yes.
And has found she's pregnant now again with quadruplets.
Yes.
She's a Russian and English teacher, I think, and her name is, I cannot pronounce her name.
Annegret Raunig.
Annegret Raunig, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yes. I mean, it's incredible news. I mean, she says it's a bit of a shock, but she intends to have the babies, which is good. You know,
yes.
She said to have the babies, and she said after the doctor discovered there were 4, I had to give it some thought to begin with. She said, but she quoted saying, adding, however, that she had not considered it an option to reduce the number of embryos. So she's going to have it all.
The thing is, so where did you find the article? But in the Spanish?
No, I found it in a thing called the Local, but I found it under the German section.
The thing is that the Spanish news actually brought this too.
Yes.
The German, the Spanish actually they covered this story too. That is interesting.
Yeah.
Indeed, she is 65 years old.
Yes.
But actually, she did it artificial.
Really?
They put cells
into
her, and here in the German news they say that.
It followed several attempts at artificial insemination. That's right.
Artificial insemination.
Yes, I think she wasn't surprised she was pregnant. I think she was surprised it was
four times.
Yes,
exactly.
yeah.
And then this funny thing is that she's already 7 times grandma.
Good God, yes, yeah.
And here, according to the German news, she's German, I suppose, and the German news will cover this correctly. She actually did this because her youngest daughter, the youngest daughter at the moment, is 9 years old.
Yes.
And she actually was saying, I would wish to have another sister.
Well, she could have bought her a toy or something, couldn't they?
So now the youngest daughter will get 4.
Yes,
sister and brothers.
That's very good. I saw a photo of the lady. She's a very attractive looking lady, by the way. You might think that after 13 kids, she might show some rigors, but no.
No, she's attractive. Yeah, that's true.
But the photo I saw of her was with her family, and she was the only one sitting down. I'm not surprised, mind you. But I think it's incredible. Yeah, good luck to her.
Good luck to her. This I can say too.
Yes,
good luck to her. With 65 to get.
Yes, yeah. I must admit, the photo I saw of the family, they were all extremely happy and smiling, and there was no sourpusses or.
No, why not?
And why not? Yes, obviously a big happy family.
Why not?
Good.
Okay, then we have another.
The last bit of music.
Last bit of music.
Yes. So now, I'm mindful. I'm sure the Brits are anyway. That the 23rd is St. George's Day, which of course is
Yes.
Now, unfortunately, it's never really celebrated much in the UK. The people who fly a few flags and stuff like that. But I think over here, some places might make a bit of effort. I mean, I hope they do. So. I tried to pick an appropriate piece of music. This was composed and conducted by Ron Goodwin, who was an English composer, and he scored over 70 films, including Where Eagles Dare, Battle of Britain, 633 Squadron, Operation Crossbow. Again, like one of my earlier choices, Henry Mancini, a gifted composer and conductor, who unfortunately is not with us anymore. And this is the theme music to the movie 633 Squadron.
This was definitely different kinds of music this time.
Good.
Not like last month's.
I get the message, Stefan.
I prefer the music from last month, I have to say.
Yes.
Thank you so much for coming down to Siesta Radio.
Stefan, thank you very much, actually. I really enjoyed it.
That's good. Me too. Yeah. Let's go for a drink?
Yes, I think so.
Okay. Thank you very much for listening. We wish you all a happy weekend, and I hope you tuning in again.
Yes, please do tune into Siesta Radio.
Onto Siesta Radio.
Best station there is.
Exactly. We do also
even when it's in German and Spanish, by the way. It's very good still. Lovely music.
Thank you very much. Thank you, and have a good day and a good weekend, and I hear you soon.